She's recording. Hi everybody, welcome back to Laaleebee Knits. My name is Natalie. I am a knitter based in Belfast, Northern Ireland. And I try to put out a little video every 2 weeks. Just catching you up on what I'm knitting and what I've been up to. Welcome. If you haven't been here before, thank you for joining. I have a little schnauzer ticking about he thinks I'm talking to him. Hi puppy. Wanna come say hi? Come here. 1, 2, 3. Up again. There we go. He's a very fluffy boy today. Aren't you? Oh. Hi fella. Good morning. You gonna go have a snooze? Yeah, this is Henry, the schnauzer. He's very fluffy. He's due a wee haircut. He's in his winter coat. Yeah. You can't sit on my knee while I do this. Go you up in your comfy cozy chair. Aren't you free? I know. There. He thought I was talking to him. Let's just let him settle himself. Hey Puka! That is where Henry sits when I work. And he gets very grumpy if I disturb him. So anyway, a few interruptions from Henry, hopefully not too many. Yeah, what's been going on the last 2 weeks? Lots of work, mostly work. And oh, I cast on my February socks, so I have a wee bit of sock talk to talk to you about. And cast on a few more things as well. So let's get started. First of all, I am wearing my Cozy Classic Raglan by Jessie May Designs. This is knit out of John Arbon's Yarnadelic yarn in the colour Pink Moon. It's a sport weight yarn and the pattern is written for DK, but I didn't even change needles or anything. I just knit it so that I get slightly looser fabric. You can't tell, it's not that see-through. And it worked out really nicely actually. So that's what I'm wearing. I have no finished objects to show you today because I've been casting on a lot of things. So let's find, I've got a big bag full of stuff that I've been casting on. First, most exciting thing is my February socks. So I have, let me just move my laptop here, a half finished object. And these are the Rhubarb and Custard socks by, can't remember who. I'll put the details down in the description. This is a brand new designer to me. Thank you so much for sending me some suggestions of sock designers. I had heard of some and hadn't heard of others, so I'm going to put them on my Ravelry favourites page and work my way through them. These are the Rhubarb and Custard socks. They're knit toe up, and I knit this one on a 9-inch circular needle, which I don't usually do because I find it cramps my hand. Usually I knit my socks on a magic loop, but I was worried about the Colorwork. I've knit Colorwork socks before that didn't fit, so I was a bit worried about that. I have little chubby feet, chubby short feet, which you can tell from this sock. So what I did to make sure that it would fit, and it does fit, thank God, is I knit my toe in a 2.25mm needle, and I increased it to the largest size, and then I knit the largest size of sock, and I did the Colorwork on a 2.5mm needle, and it fits perfectly. It's the first time I've done this kind of heel construction, so I don't usually knit from the toe up because I like a heel flap and gusset. I've never seen a heel flap and gusset toe up, but it's a really interesting construction. Let me show you. So you start off knitting here. I gave it a little steam block, but they could do with a proper soak. So you start off knitting here, and then what you do is at a certain point you increase and build your gusset like this. So you just start increasing, and then you do a few short rows, and then you do your heel flap, and then I made them into little shorties. So loved this, loved the idea behind that. I'm definitely going to knit a few more toe-up socks like that because I love the gusset construction. I just find it fits better. I just like how it fits, and I like how it looks. It looks cool because you can still get your consistency of your pattern there. Loved it. I have to say, the pattern I found a little confusing in places. Some of it was really well written. And very well thought out. The designer had thought about the placement of your diamonds. So essentially she wanted to have your diamonds centered here. So she told you the different starting points that you had to pick in order to get that to happen. So once I read it and saw what she meant, then it was fine. The short rows and the heels could have been written a bit better. The designer just tells you to use whatever short rows you like and gives you instructions for a Japanese short row, which I didn't try, but then the instructions don't say to actually make the turn for the short row. So, oh, my sisters are calling around. Goodbye, sisters. So the designer didn't tell you when to actually do your turn. She tells you when to turn, but she doesn't tell you when to do the short row stitch. So I got a bit confused at that, and she was telling me to slip stitches when it didn't make sense. I used German short row. Anyway, I found that a bit difficult. So I did German short rows because that's what's written in this pattern. Spoiler alert, I'm knitting this again. So yeah, took me a wee minute to figure those out, and then did my little heel flap. Written in the pattern is a brioche heel flap, and I didn't do that either because I couldn't get my head around it. Not that I couldn't get my head around it, it wasn't intuitive and it didn't look right, and I was already a bit frustrated with my short rows, so I just did my standard knit one slip one for my heel flap, and I thought it kind of matched with this, which is how I did a little twisted rib. So got one finished, and then I thought, oh, I'm going to cast on my next one. Oh, I can't put up with this. So I've got this much done on my next one. I wonder if you can see the difference in blocking. Well, you can a little bit. You can kind of see that this one's blocked a wee bit. But I've been knitting away on my other one. So these are my February socks for the Grocery Girls Sock Bash. I'm knitting them out of Giddy Aunt Yarn's yarn. This one is called Frenchie, and it's beautiful. I would love a jumper knit in that. I think that would go nicely. Frenchie and Ruby Slipper. Perfect Valentine's kind of socks. So, well on my way to finish those. I think I'll get those finished this weekend. Now, the Grocery Girls, in their sock bash, you have to knit 2 pairs of shorties if you want to enter it. So I cast on another pair of socks. These, let me tidy myself up a wee bit. Get you guys in there. Very near to finish those. Okay, next ones. Oh, I've got another half object. Forgot about that. So I cast on the theme for Sock Bash this month was a new designer to me. So that's why I went with the rhubarb and custard socks. And then I cast on an old beloved little pattern. This is the Hermione's Everyday Sock pattern. You've seen me show these before. I just love the texture. It's something I can do really mindlessly. I can't knit it in like the cinema because I need to know where I am on my stitch pattern, but I can knit it without looking at the pattern. The only time I have to look at the pattern now is for my heel turn to see how many stitches I need to do. There we go, it's a bit better on the sock blocker. This yarn is a one of a kind from Botanical Yarns, I think, that I got ages ago. I've already knit a pair of socks out of this. And I had 70 grams left over. So I must have knit a pair of socks, a pair of shorties with a contrast, because I had 70 grams of 100 grams skein left over. This is how much I have left, and I've already knit a pair of socks out of it. So this is my other. So I've got a newbie and an old favourite for my sock bash this year, or this month. I just love these, and I like this length. I find standard shorty socks kind of take you to there, and it's not long enough for me. They always slip down, and that kind of annoys me a bit. So they're a bit longer than shorties, but I like this length. It's kind of my favourite length. So I've been knitting away on socks. So I've got 2 more to do. Oh, I should mention, this is a little notions pouch that I got from my friend Emma, who has a Little Love NI Etsy shop. She calls these little pouches something else, coin purses, but I love it as my notions pouch. So I had a little clear out of all my notions. This is a little tangent. I had a little clear out of all my little notions pouches I have, because I like to have one in each project bag if I can. So I thought I would just show quickly what I keep in my notions pouch. Let me know if there's anything else you keep in yours, because I like to be nosy. And it's kind of like, you know how those old YouTubers used to do, what's in my bag? What's in my notions pouch? Well, I will show you each of my notions pouches. Now has little pair of scissors, of course. Little tape measure. I got these ones off Amazon. I like that they're compact. I spend so long winding those free tape measures into little neat rolls just for them to pair out again. So I got these ones so I don't have to do that and drive myself mad. Got my tape measure. Got a little darning needle. Have you ever seen a darning needle? Here it is in HD. Darning needle for all my ends. Got a little beginning of round marker for when I'm knitting in the round. It's a little, it looks like grapes, but I think it's supposed to be a pine cone. I've got a bunch of little, oh, how do I show these? Light bulb markers, because they're my favourite ones. And they're good at saving progress, although I do keep a little progress keeper on the zip. This one is from Twill and Print. I think I got it from Botanical Yarn. And then I also keep a lip balm and a hand cream in my little notions pouches, because I find my hands get a bit dry when I'm knitting. And then you can never have too many lip balms. So that's in my little Love NI notions pouch in my sock project bag. So that's me all socked out. Now I have a big cast on. Let me show you. I'm excited about this one. Let me have a little sip of my coffee. So, if you have seen my video going on about my, what am I trying to say? If you see my video going on about my plans for my stash, you'll know that I have a crap ton of Brooklyn Tweed Loft left over. So much. I've knit 2 full sweaters out of Brooklyn Tweed Loft, and I forget that, well, I didn't realise that Brooklyn Tweed Loft goes very, I think I'm wearing this backwards, you know. I think the short rows are here. Anyway, Brooklyn Tweed Loft goes a long way. So they come in 50 gram skeins. If you've never knit with them before, in the UK, to my knowledge, no one in Northern Ireland stocks them, but I order mine from, there are 2 places. One is Loop London, loopknittingshop.com, and the other one is Tangled Yarn, which is over in England as well. They stock, both of them stock quite a good selection. So this is Brooklyn Tweed Loft. It says it's a fingering weight yarn. it's 275 yards per 50 grams, and the skein is about 16 or 17 pounds, so it's a wee bit more expensive than, you know, buying a kind of standard superwash yarn. It's not superwash. You cannot throw this in your washing machine, your tumble dryer, and think that it'll come out normal. It's, I think they call it woolen spun, which means that you can tear the yarn very easily, but you can also spit splice it together again just by rubbing the little yarn strands together, and then it'll form your yarn again. So it says it's a fingering weight, and I have knit 2 patterns that were written for fingering weight yarn, but it's very plump. Just by the nature of how it's spun, it's so light and airy. It is a little more rustic. My friend Margaret would not enjoy knitting with this because she likes super soft yarns. This is not super soft. There are little flecks. I wonder if you can see that. Probably not. There are little flecks of grass still, and hay still in the yarn because it's minimally treated. So you do have to pick out little bits of grass from your yarn. But I would say my skin's very sensitive, and I would break out at very rustic yarns. This is soft enough for me to wear next to my skin. Can get a little scratchy, a tiny bit scratchy, but nothing unbearable. So all that to say, it says it's a fingering weight yarn. You get a lot of yardage for your fingering weight. So it says 275 yarns. How much is that? Like 475. Oh my god, I'm terrible at maths. Get a lot of, oh my god, I really am terrible at maths. 550 per 100 grams skein, per 100 grams of this. I'm showing myself up today. I do English, I don't do maths. Well, anyway, you get a lot of yardage for your skein. All that to say, I'm knitting a DK pattern in it. With it, not a fingering weight pattern. And it's coming out quite nicely. So, like I mentioned, I am knitting another Cozy Classic Raglan. And I'm striping it. Now, this is all bunched up onto needles, so I really should have transferred it onto other needles before I showed you. Well, I didn't think about it. So, let me show. This is my Cozy Classic Raglan. Written for DK. There is a fingering weight pattern, so if you want to knit it in properly in fingering weight yarn, you can. But I'm knitting the DK version in Brooklyn Tweed Loft, and it is airier. You can kind of see my fingers through it, but not too much. I haven't checked my gauge, so I need to do that, but I'm afraid to, because I do not want to have to rip it out. So I think what I'm going to do is, before I proceed any further, I'll check my gauge, see what I'm like, if it's going to be the size that I want, and then adjust my decreases accordingly. But I am striping all my leftover yarns into this. Now, I've been accused in the past of being a control freak by my boss mainly, but you know. So I've been accused of being a control freak, and it is not an unjust accusation. Because I like to know where things are. I like it to be neat and tidy, and I like what I like. So doing random stripes is stressing me out a little bit. I don't even want to think about my sleeves because I am gonna have to, am I gonna match my sleeves to the body? Is it gonna stress me out if the sleeves don't match the body? Yes, those are conversations to have with later Natalie, not me right now. So I did a little bit of planning. I have lots of different colours left over. Let's see if I can remember them, right? There are 2 greys that I cannot remember. This creamy colour is called Fossil. I've got a couple of those. This is Cast Iron. I've got 2 of those. Then I have leftover from my Alpenglow sweater. This one is Camper and Ember in that sweater as well. And I've got 2 greys. Could not tell you what they are. I think maybe they're discontinued and that's why I can't find the right colour. There is a grey called Sweatshirt, I think, and I don't think this is one of them. I don't know where my tags are either, so 2 greys. And then I have this one, which I believe is called Harvest or something. And to be honest, this colour on its own, I don't like that. But once you put it with cast iron, it totally changes. It turns it into, it's less green and turns it kind of more golden. So those are all my colours. I also have tallow, but I don't think I'm going to add it in because it doesn't really go with the vibe. I'll see. I will see. So I did a little, what I think Stephen West started this. It's a little like cheat sheet gauge swatch type thing. Oh, it's starting to unravel. Where basically I wind all of my colours up to see what it would look like striping. So you can tell I've started here. This is where I'm going, just to see how the colours would kind of play together. So this is the idea of my little jumper. And yeah. I'm a control freak, and if it does, it'll annoy me if it doesn't go how I want it to go. So that might be a long-term project, we'll see. I'm going to try not to throw my head up and just put it in timeout for a long time because I do want to get it finished. This, hopefully, will be an entry for one of the Grocery Girls' other knit-alongs. They're doing a raglan along. And you have 3 months to knit your jumper in that. So I can knit a jumper in 3 months, especially on a big gauge. I just need to check my gauge. I think that's why I've set it to the side. I need to check the gauge and hope that I'm not going crazy. Yeah, see how it goes. I didn't check my gauge before I knit this either. I just started knitting it and it happened to work out. I don't recommend doing that. For someone who likes to control things, that's a very risky thing to do, is not check your gauge. No. So that is my most exciting cast on. What else have I been working on? Oh yeah, this will be a surprise. I picked up my crochet blanket. Now, last time I was talking to you, I was going to throw this out. Because am I really going to sit and crochet together 3-inch squares? Yes, I am. So, years ago now, easily 3 years ago, I started crocheting little granny squares with my scrap yarn. And I'll show you. I think I probably have about 200 now. Just little scrappy granny squares. Lots of them. And I stopped because it was getting a bit unruly, and then I was trying to think of a join as you go, and I did start a join as you go pattern and I did not like how it looked. So anyway, on Saturday I picked it back up again and I thought I need to break this down into something a little more manageable, so I'm not sitting with 200 squares going, oh, how do I even start? So what I decided to do was put my squares into little bundles of 16, so that I can kind of colour grip them. I basically want, have you seen those crochet blankets where they're kind of like a sweep of colour and they go, it's not like rigidly colour, it's just kind of like artistically beautiful. That's what I'm envisioning. And the only way to do that in an organised way and a manageable way for me is to grip them into these grips of 16. So I did my first big square the other day. So I went around each of my little squares, granny squares, added in the white border, which is just an undyed yarn. Added in the white border and then slip stitched the seam together. I didn't like the slip stitch look without the white border. I think it makes it a little more cohesive. So I couldn't tell you what these yarns are. I think this one's Grorange from Pixie Yarn. Let me see if I remember what else. This is, oh, I think that's a Halloween one from Giddy Ants. That's definitely a Ching Fibre one. And that's a Christmassy one. But yeah, so these are like my kind of orangey, yellowy, browny colours. And I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to aim for maybe 2 a month. Just sit down every other weekend and work away on it. The thing with crochet is that I can't watch TV with it. Because I can't crochet and look away at the same time. And it's finger and weight yarn, so it's kind of, I just struggle with that a little bit. It's not as intuitive to me as knitting. So I sat and listened to my Audible audiobook. I'm listening to Lessons in Chemistry at the minute, so I sat for a couple of hours the other day. It did take a couple of hours to do that. And worked away. I think to make a big blanket, I think I'll need 20 of these big squares. And I don't have enough little squares done, so it is a long-term project, but this makes me feel better because this feels more like I'm getting somewhere with the blanket. So that's my first big square done. And then, because I like to organise, I gripped everything into little bundles. Let me move. I've got spare ones that haven't been bundled yet. Gripped them all into little bundles so that I can just pick up a bundle and crochet them together. These are adorable. Like, this just makes me happy. Then I've got little organised bundles. This makes me want to crochet because now instead of just having a mess of hundreds of little squares that are disorganised, I have them all organised and gripped, ready to be brought together. And it kind of, each little square takes, I weighed it out yesterday, what was it? 2.4 grams of yarn. So these tiny little nubbins that aren't going to make it into socks are going to be in my little crochet blanket. So yeah, I organised myself and I got, you know, I have so many, and right, I will never ever complain about weaving in ends on jumpers or anything knitted because crochet ends are something else. They're something else. I've crocheted, so I started to crochet before I knit, and I started with crocheting blankets. So I stumbled across Attic 24. She would do these yarn packs and sell them on Wool Warehouse, and she has a blog, and she would do a crochet along where she would do one, the blankets would usually be one like stitch repeat, but she would release the order of colours that you did them. So I crocheted 2 of those. I did the cupcake one, which was a granny square stripe type thing, and then I did another one which was, oh, I can't remember the name of it. It was kind of like wavy lines, and it went from a green into purples and then into blues. If you look at Attic 24, you'll see the one that I mean. So I gave that to my gran. But yeah, crocheting and ends are a whole other beast. But I still haven't finished weaving in my ends for this because I just gave up. I was like, I've had enough. I don't want to do anymore. So I will just try and like tackle those ends slowly as I go. But they're not my most favourite thing to do. But I also don't want to crochet all those together and then sit with a blanket with 1,000 ends. Because that's not for me either. So, very pleased with myself. Got them in a big, this is actually a Caroline Hirons skincare bag that I got. Do you hear the thump of that? It's weighty. So, yeah, picked up my crochet. So I have one more project that I want to start because they're a pair of socks for my stepdad. His birthday's coming up. And good old Vera has already knit the tube. And I put the toes on them. These are for my stepdad. I think he's forgotten about them, so that's good. Because I promised them last year for him. And yeah. These are West Yorkshire spinners in one of the bird colorways. I think it might be mallard. Kind of looks like mallard, doesn't it? And then this is a little random mini I got in a random mini lucky dip thing from Botanical Yarns. Yeah, so all this needs is heels, and I've marked, I think, where I need to cut my heels in. No, I haven't. That's why I need to mark in where I need to cut my heels in for him. They'll not be too long. I would say they'll probably be like that. So that'll be part of his birthday present. He doesn't watch podcasts, so I can say freely. Yeah, so that is my intended knitting for this week. I'm going to take my gauge on my jumper. I'm going to finish my little socks, and I'm going to finish Paul's socks, and then that means next time I can cast some stuff on. I'm already planning what to knit for March sock bash. Something with green in it, obviously, for St. Patrick's Day. But before I get ahead of myself, I have a couple of acquisitions. Let me put Paul's socks away. And I'm still using a little Christmas notions pouch because I haven't done myself a new one. So I have a couple of acquisitions. Let me get my bag up. They're so many. I'm trying to be like sneaky and put it so you don't catch sight of it first. Okay. So, first of all, most excitingly, I joined up to the Beehive Yarns club, Simple Pleasures Yarn Club, and this is the picture that she revealed as the inspiration for the first skein. It says, "Life is not measured by the number of breaths we take, but by the number of moments that take our breath away," by Maya Angelou. Isn't that pretty? So, you'll have seen this if you've been on our Instagram. If you have ordered the Beehive Yarns and you haven't received it yet, look away. This is your little spoiler alert, because I'm going to show you. So this is the inspiration, and this is the yarn. So I ordered it on Sparkle because, of course. Isn't that beautiful? I think it'll microstripe, because these seem to be pretty solid chunks of colour. But I got it the day after I recorded my last podcast, and I was like, I can't open this until I show it on the podcast. Beautiful. Love these colours. Absolutely love them. So that's my first yarn club installment. What a treat. Loving it. I haven't looked at the inspo picture for the next one, so that'll be a complete surprise. But I think they ship towards the end of the month, so gorgeous. Love it. It's in it's brush merino, 20% nylon, 5% stellina. Gorgeous. Oh. So I got that in the mail, and then I made another little purchase. So I saw on Instagram that the Yarn Badger had put out something on Instagram about her car or something. I don't know. Something was happening. And then she was like, but I'm adding new colours to the shop. And I have never bought from the Yarn Badger before. She does self-striping yarn. And I am a sucker for self-striping yarn. Love it. So I had a look at her website and I thought, oh, well, I was like, you know, soothing my own conscience. I was like, well, you know, she's asking people to shop with her and I can definitely use some self-striping yarn, and you know, anyway, it was an excuse for me to get more yarn. So I had a look on her website and her new colours were beautiful, but then I spotted this, which is a colour that she had for a long time. And again, it's in Sparkle and it's called Celebration. Is this not the most springtime colour you've ever seen? Look at her knitting badger. Cute. So, this is my first skein of the yarn badger, and I'm really excited. So you get two 50-gram skeins. I hope that I wind them in such a way that they match. I know people are like, oh, it doesn't matter if they match, it matters to me. So usually my trick is whenever I'm knitting with a kind of commercial self-striping yarn, like West Yorkshire Spinners does lots of self-striping, I will go to where the colours change, tie my little slip knot and then cast on from there. And then I do the same on the next sock and I know that it's at the right spot. So I will do that trick again for these ones and hopefully they match. If they don't match, you know, it'll not be the end of the world. But like, I love that this, I think, matches the colours in the... I'm only noticing that now. I'm delighted with myself. Delighted with myself. And I can't get over Sparkle. I love it. And then I made some more purchases. So I went last weekend to the Fine and Dandy Market in Belfast in Titanic Quarter. And my favourites, Giddy Ants, were there. And I went over and was talking and then very impolitely plunged my hand into the middle of their yarn and was like, this one's for me. Because out of all the beautiful colours that they had, there was one that just popped and I saw it and I was like, that is mine. That's for me. I need that. So this is one of their Curiosity Yarn Club colourways that they don't do anymore, I don't think, called Ice Bubbles. Can you tell which colour caught my eye? It's this one. It's this little sock set from Giddy Ants. Beautiful. I don't think I have anything like this. It's so beachy. It's beautiful. So I have another little sock set. My yarn diet is not going quite so well, but that's okay. And then I picked up this as well because I don't have a lot of this colour. This is an oddball colour, but I love this colour with purples and pinks. But look, that's beautiful. So I don't know what I'm going to do with that, but I had to have it. I like the little speckles that were in it. Gorgeous. So I really like this is the kind of thing that I'm envisioning with maybe some purples. So I've added to my yarn stash quite a lot, but I'm excited about it. And then I bought one more yarny thing and it arrived yesterday. And I'd been hemming and hawing about getting this because, well, I'll show you what it is first. I don't know why I'm like, look. This is the Charming Colorwork Socks by Charlotte Stone. Her Instagram is Stone Knits. And I saw it and was like, I have to have this. And then it wasn't available in the UK for ages, and then it came out. And so the reason I hummed and had about it was because I've knit Colorwork socks before that don't fit my chubby wee feet. And Colorwork socks don't tend to be plus size inclusive, really, because people don't really think about people having chubby feet or chubby ankles or chubby legs. So like this kind of pattern is stunning and I love it. This will never fit my leg because my leg goes out like that. So that is what put me off a little bit. Like with this, where all the colour work is here, but that's where I would need more room. So it put me off a little bit. I thought, well, am I really going to buy a book that I can't knit from? But having knit the socks that I've just finished, well, I'm working on at the minute, the rhubarb and custard socks, I realised that I have found a way to knit Colorwork socks that will fit my feet and not look stretched or feel too tight or just look wrong. They, you know, whenever I knit them, they look at how cute these would have been for that yarn. Like, that would have been perfect. Gorgeous. I think I'll have to knit those anyway. What was I saying? Oh yeah, because I've knit these Colorwork socks and they were successful, I thought I may as well buy this book, because even if I just adjust the pattern a little bit so that the colourwork is going over the foot rather than up my calf and my ankle, then that's still useful. These are so cute. The little chickens and the toes are eggs. The toes are eggs. So cute. It makes me laugh. So anyway, it's an adorable book. Look at the ice cream. It's adorable. And, you know, I can make it work with my foot size and my leg size. And I don't think a lot of people talk about that. You know, quite a lot of plus size people are very lucky to have slender little ankles and feet. And I am not one of those people. I have chunky wee ankles. And it makes knitting Colorwork socks a little bit more difficult. And it can make it a bit discouraging. But yeah, I'm going to do my best to make it work for me. So I'm excited to try those. Knitting Colorwork socks takes a lot longer for me, but it feels like it goes quicker because I'm like, I want to finish a full repeat. So in the rhubarb and custard socks, I'm knitting it's an 8-row repeat, so I knit at least 8 rows every time I pick it up because I don't want to finish in the middle. So in that way I feel like I make progress on it quite quickly, but it's because I'm dedicating more time to it. I'm not just picking it up and setting it up. So that's all my things, and I have nothing else to say. What have I been reading? I've started reading a book by, I think her name is R.F. Kuang. Oh, I'm so sorry for mispronouncing that. It's either Babel or Babel. I've been calling it Babel in my head because of like babbling, and it's about language. But it might be Babel, but I've been calling it Babel in my head. Which is set in Oxford in, I think, like the 1840s. So I'm reading that and I'm enjoying it. And I've been listening to Lessons in Chemistry on Audible and I love it. It's very easy. It's very easy to listen to, and it's engaging. I've been really enjoying that. So I'm making my way through my little stack of books there. Yes, I colour code my books because of course I do. So I've been working my way through those. I've been working a lot. The latest document that I've worked on is almost the same length as my PhD thesis. So it's lengthy. And I'm hoping to get that off this week. What else is happening? Valentine's Day is tomorrow. I think my nail's making me steak for dinner. And I'm going out for dinner with my friends tonight. It's very sociable. I'm not a very sociable person. So that's very unlike me. So yeah, I think this next week will be about finishing off some projects. Because I am trying to keep to my rule of not casting things on until I finish something. So I'm not going to cast on any more socks, even though I have 3 pairs of needles waiting for socks to go onto them. But I can't. So I think I'll have a little trundle through some patterns, see what will fit. I don't even know what the theme is for next month's sock bash, but I'll have a look. So that's all my knitting plans. And Henry's having a little huff. Can we see him? Oh, it's just a wee ball of fluff. But anyway, thank you so much for joining me. I hope you have a good 2 weeks, and I will see you soon. Bye!